He was tall, he was slender, and his dark eyes so tender. His occupation was mining, West Virginia his home.
I worked a minute, 10 and 12 hours from daylight till dark for a quarter.
And the coal operators, they were always from a big city, we felt like they were so far away. And then to come in and tell us what we could do, what to do, there was a resentment about it.
All the law was on the coal operator's side, even down to the governor and everything else was on their side, They didn't sympathize much with the coal miners.
We wore mostly big coveralls. It's about 2 sizes bigger. I wore about a 44 then, so you could put your gun down your leg and struck it up your shoulder under your overall. We wanted freedom. That's what we were fighting for, freedom.
Blair Mountain, West Virginia, an insignificant ripple in the vast wave of ridges and peaks that make up the great Appalachian Mountain Range. But to the people of this state, especially to those who remember, Blair Mountain is a lasting monument to a major historic event, one that affected the lives of thousands of West Virginians and, in time, the entire nation. For in 1921, more than 10,000 coal miners marched to the foot of this mountain to put an end to an unjust system that had taken their health, their homes, and their freedom. Before it was over, they faced machine guns, bombing assaults, and United States troops. This, the largest gathering of armed workers in the history of American labor, became known as the Battle of Blair Mountain. But the story of what happened here began much earlier, when the land was quiet and the population thin. This is the story of coal, the making of a union, and the collision of competing interests and dreams. The Industrial Revolution exploded onto the American scene in the mid-1800s. Factories and foundries, millers and mechanics, all required one source of fuel to run their machines and drive their manufacturing ambitions: coal.
Thomas Jefferson was writing about it in the 1800s. He was writing about the large deposits of coal in the western section of the state of Virginia, what would become the state of West Virginia. The trouble was the mountains, the Appalachian Mountains, prohibited any type of transportation network that was needed to get in and get the coal out. So it's not until the 1880s, when you have the development of the steam-driven plow that can tunnel through the mountains, that you have the large-scale commercial development of coal.
By 1880, geological surveys had established that West Virginia's coal was among the world's finest. It was high in quality and the seams were thick. Realizing this, financiers and large corporations from outside the state, New York, Boston, Philadelphia, even London, acquired large tracts of land and mineral rights in the state and leased those lands to coal operators on a royalty basis.
To mine West Virginia's vast resources and meet the increasing demands of industry, coal operators needed an awesome supply of labor. Because the state was sparsely populated, it was necessary to recruit workers from elsewhere. Blacks from the South and thousands of European immigrants newly arrived in America were enticed to the coal fields. From 1880 to the start of World War I, the population of West Virginia soared, and with it, the production of coal. To do their work, miners descended into the dark underground where they drilled, blasted, and dug at the walls of the mines. Boys worked beside their fathers, picking slate from the coal, bailing water, or driving the mules that carried the coal to the surface.
It was hard work, no question about it, because you go in low coal, it was only about 3.5, 4 foot high. About 4 foot would be the highest. You'd have to make you a cut with a pick then. You see, we didn't have no machines.
When I was 14 years old, I worked for a quarter day and done as much as a man gun.
I've done coal down here, 14 hours, hundreds and hundreds of days. I got 7 for it. Yeah. Church would be breaking up when we quit dumping coal.
Oh, there'll be them signs and wonders.
Mining coal wasn't just hard work, it was dangerous work. Coal dust covered bodies and filled lungs, often sending miners to early graves. If black lung disease didn't claim them, there was the ever-present threat of collapsing tunnels or methane gas explosions. One mining accident could cause the deaths of hundreds of workers.
No safety rules, whatever. If a man got killed, well, they just hauled him out and buried him. That's about all there was to it back in them days.
Lord, I want to be ready when this world is to an end.
Many of West Virginia's coal mines were located in obscure, out-of-the-way places. Because of this, it was necessary for the coal operators to build settlements near the mines, with houses, a school, church, and general store. The company town was a ready-made community for the miner and his family.
You'd build the houses to be occupied by your employees. You'd build a store to furnish them the goods they need to live, because they couldn't get them anywhere else.
There was no roads out of coal company, and they had to set up a way of getting merchandise and food to the miners within around the area they were. Company stores were set up in necessity.
They had everything you need, groceries, clothes, and furniture. And naturally, you just went there and got it, and they checked it through the office and took it off of what you made.
Houses were real close together. They were weatherboarded.
Some of them was plastered inside, and some of them had wallpaper on them. There's cheap houses. It didn't have no water in them or nothing like that.
The working men had no houses that had any plumbing. Only the White House, and that was where the general manager lived.
In the early years, the miners and their families accepted their way of life in the company towns. It was a life full of hardships, but compared to what most had experienced before, it was a secure life. Perhaps too secure. Remote and isolated, cut off from outside scrutiny and moderating influences, the company town became absolute in its power.